Okay, part 8. Again, I will post the link to this worksheet below if you want to work through it first and then check your answers with mine, or work through it with me. Doesn't matter, whatever you want to do works for you. So let's get started. If x cubed equals negative 27, what is the value of x squared? Well, first, in order to get rid of this power of 3, we're going to cube root both sides. That gets rid of that. So x equals negative 3. All right. Now, if we square that, x squared equals 9. So x squared equals 9. If 27 equals 4 plus 5 times a plus 4, what is the value of a? Well, first we will add these together. So we get 9, a plus 4. Okay, the next thing we need to do is distribute this 9. So we get 72. Actually, we did not have to do that. So anyway, I'm sorry. You can do either way. You can either distribute this and go this way, subtract the 36 from both sides. So we get 36 equals 9a, and then divide by 9, so we get 4 is equal to a. Or at this point, you can actually divide both sides by 9, since 72 is divisible by 9. So you get 8 is equal to a plus 4, subtract the 4. So if you can do this, do that, because that saves you an extra step, as you saw here, okay? All right. So if negative 7x plus 3y equals 12 and 5x minus 3y equals 4, what is the value of x? All right, so here we are going to solve, if you remember from Algebra 2, this is what we call a system of equations, right? And we can either solve it by graphing, substitution, or elimination. Now, since both of these equations are not solved for y, I'm not going to do graphing. And since none of these have a variable that doesn't have a coefficient, I'm not going to do substitution. So elimination is going to be the easiest way to go. So first, let's rewrite this. And then 5x minus 3y equals 4. Now, this is very nice because we already have a positive 3 and a negative 4. So when we add these equations together, it's actually going to cancel each other out pretty nicely. But if we had something like 2y minus 3y, we could actually multiply this one by 3, multiply this one by 2, and that way our result, when we added them straight down, would actually cancel off one of the variables. So, but here, since it's already going to do that for us, negative 7 plus 5 gives us negative 2x, and 12 plus 4 is 16. Divide both sides by negative 2, we get negative 8. There we go. All right, which of the following equations is equal to 4x minus 12y equals 48? Well, we can see that 3 of our answers involve x with no coefficients. So let's go ahead and divide everything by 4 and see what we get. That cancels, so we get x. Negative 12 divided by 4 gives us negative 3y. 48 divided by 4 gives us 12. Now let's check. Do we have any of those? Yes, right here. So that is our answer. What is the volume of the air inside a beach ball if the diameter is 10 inches, round to the nearest integer? All right, so they are actually going to give you the formula for volume of a sphere, which is volume equals 3/4 pi r cubed. Okay, so if our diameter is 10 inches, that means our radius is 5. So we'll just plug that in. Okay, 5 cubed. Okay, and then 125 times 3 divided by 4. (93.75 pi). And it says round to the nearest integer, so we'll multiply this by 3.14. Okay, so it's 294.375. Round to the nearest integer, and that'll be 294. Okay, next one, root x times root y over 5 root x minus 4 root x. Okay, so since we have multiplication in the numerator, the root x can go into both of these. So we'll just reduce that. So we get root y over 5 minus 4, which is just 1. So our answer is just square root of y. I do want to show you one more way that you can solve this one. So if you go ahead and multiply, well, let's just rewrite this out. Root x times root y over 5x minus 4 root x. Okay, so if you go ahead and multiply these through, you'll get root xy. And now since these two have the same, I call it guts of what's inside the square root sign, so the guts of the square root sign are actually the same, you can add and subtract what is out front. So 5 minus 4 would be 1 root x, and now you can easily see that that root x reduces, so you get root y. Walnuts are put out 3 at a time, and a certain squirrel takes away 2 at a time, 1 for each cheek. The total number of times the walnuts are put out and taken away is 45. There are 10 nuts left. How many times did the squirrel take nuts? All right, so we know that out is 3 times, minus, because he takes away the nuts, 2 at a time for the squirrel. The total number of times walnuts are put out and taken away is 45. So out plus taken away by the squirrel is 45. And there are 10 nuts left. How many times does the squirrel take nuts? Okay, so again, this is system of equations. And since, again, neither of these are solved for y to graph, that'll take up time. But this one actually has both variables without a coefficient. So it wants us to know the squirrel, right? So we want to keep the s. So this time let's solve for O. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to substitute this equation in for the O of that equation. So 3 times 45 minus s minus 2s equals 10, right? Distribute that out. So we get 135 minus 3s minus 2s equals 10. So 135 minus 5s equals 10. Subtract the 35 over. So we get negative 5s equals negative 125. Divide by the negative 5. 125 divided by 5. 25. So the squirrel took nuts away 25 times. If 1/3 a minus 2 and a times a plus 2 equals b, what is the value of a squared minus 4? All right, so first of all, let's multiply this 3 over, or multiply it by the reciprocal, so we're actually multiplying by 3 just to get rid of it. So a minus 2, a plus 2 is equal to 3b. So now our next step is to FOIL this through. So a squared, and then negative 2a, positive 2a will cancel each other. So then we just square the last, minus 4 equals 3b. If you'll notice, a squared minus 4, a squared minus 4, so our answer is 3b. All right, if m minus 3 squared is 25, what is the value of m plus 2 squared? All right, so first thing we do to solve for m here is to square root both sides. So we get m minus 3 equals plus and minus 5. Okay, add the 3 over. Okay, so now m equals 3 plus 5 and m equals 3 minus 5. So m equals 8 and m equals negative 2. All right, so what's the value of m plus 2 squared? Well, we'll plug in the 8 first, and then we'll plug in the negative 2. So we have 10 squared, 100, 0 squared, 0. So it'll be either 100 or 0. All right, if w minus y is 7, x plus z is 3, y minus 10 is z, and w minus 6 is x, what is the value of w? Okay, so we want to keep w. So we want w. Okay. So the first thing I want to see is, do we have y? We have a y, we have an x. All right, so let's just line these up. So we have w, x, y, and z. So we have w, x, y, and z. So w minus y is equal to 7. X plus z is equal to 3. Now, if we notice here, we're kind of in the wrong order. So let's do y minus 10 equals z and we're going to add the 10 over and subtract the z. So y minus z equals 10. So we have y minus z equals 10. And our last one, again, we've got w minus 6 equals x. So we're going to subtract the x over, add the 6 over. So, whoops. W minus x equals 6. All right, now I'm going to erase this to make it a little bit easier to see. So now if we notice, if we add straight down, we get 2w, the x's cancel, the y's cancel, and the z's cancel. So again, solving systems of equations, if we just add straight down, we're using elimination. So let's do that. So the x's cancel, the y's cancel, the z's cancel. 2w equals 10, 20, 26. So w equals 13.